I go to the gym every day, I train pretty hard, and I eat pretty healthy, but I'm just not seeing any progress. Well, here's how to fix that in just 5 minutes. First, how do you build muscle? Very simple. You train to failure. Because when you train to failure, your reps start to slow down, your muscles produce more force, and mechanical tension is created. Assuming you are eating enough protein and recovering sufficiently, this mechanical tension will then increase the rate of muscle protein synthesis inside the muscle cell, making that cell larger. And what do we call the enlargement of a muscle cell? Muscle hypertrophy. So in other words, when you train to failure, your muscles get bigger. Now, using that new muscle, you are now stronger than you were before. So next week, when you take that same set to failure using the exact same weight.
Whoa, wait a minute. Huh?
What happened here? This time I got 8 reps instead of 7. I wonder why. You didn't train any harder. You didn't do anything different. You just built muscle and got stronger because you trained to failure the first time. And because you trained to failure again that second time, maybe next week you can do 9 reps. And the week after that, you can do 10. Well, actually, maybe 10 is a bit too much. Let me add 5 pounds so I can go back down to 7 and start again from there. I wonder what this sounds like. This is how you progressively overload. It's not like I went into the gym and just said, okay, today I'll add 5 pounds to all of my sets so that I can train harder than last time. No, I didn't force anything. I didn't just randomly slap a 5 around to the machine. I just trained to failure with the exact same intensity as I did before, but because I built muscle from last week's sets to failure, this time I was able to do more reps. And eventually I can increase the weight and repeat the process. So all in all, when you train to failure, you elicit mechanical tension, you build muscle, you get stronger, and progressive overload happens as a result. But considering you are sitting there watching this video, it is safe to assume this is not happening. So why is that? Well, what was the first thing I said that leads to muscle growth? Training to failure, but more specifically, mechanical tension, which then leads to hypertrophy in the presence of protein and sufficient recovery. Therefore, there are 3 things needed to build muscle: training, recovery, and diet. And if you are not progressively overloading, this tells you that one or more of these factors are not doing its job. So to figure out what it is, ask yourself the following questions. Am I training as hard as I physically can during every single set I do in the gym? Are my last few reps of each set involuntarily slowing down despite me pushing as hard as possible? Am I actually controlling my reps by using a full range of motion with proper technique? Am I resting adequately between sets to ensure that each one is performed with my utmost intensity? Am I doing an adequate amount of sets per week to which I'm able to recover from sufficiently? Am I staying consistent with a clear and structured training routine that I use to track my workouts? Am I eating a healthy, nutrient-dense diet with enough protein that supports my performance in the gym? Am I aware of my calories and macros as well as the overall trend of my body weight? And finally, am I managing my sleep, stress, hydration, mental health, and all other outside factors that may impact my work ethic, motivation, or overall quality of life? If you answer no to any of these questions, then I'm afraid to tell you that is why you are not building muscle. It hurts to hear, but there is a reason why everyone on this planet is not walking around like Arnold. Even if your training is dialed in, if your nutrition and recovery are shit, it is curtains for you, brother. And likewise, if your nutrition and recovery are perfect, if your training isn't, well, then it's curtains for you too. Yes, obviously everyone has bad days and everyone has their own personal struggles, but unfortunately, muscle hypertrophy does not care about your 9-to-5 job, and if all 3 of those factors are not dialed in, you will not make progress. You may for a little bit, but you will eventually plateau, which is why you clicked on this video, because you can't seem to figure out what's wrong. Well, I hate to be the one to say it, but that is for you to figure out, because I don't know you. However, I can 100% guarantee you that regardless of your circumstances, regardless of your genetics, and regardless of your starting point, you can and will build a fantastic physique as long as you put in the time and effort to do so. So ask yourself those 9 questions, figure out where you can improve, and make the necessary changes to your lifestyle to keep moving forward. And if you're sitting there thinking that everything you're doing is perfect, re-ask yourself that first question. Am I training as hard as I physically can during every single set I do in the gym? For example, this is a set of leg press. Let's sit back and watch my final rep. This set was not even taken to failure. I didn't even fail my last rep. So when people say train to failure, it is genuinely further than this. And you need to be doing this, or at least close to it, on every single set in the gym. Most people would have stopped 8 reps ago and just said, ah man, the set got kind of hard, so I just let the weight drop and therefore I failed. Yeah, you failed alright. Failed to build any fucking muscle. Failure isn't just when you don't lift the weight up, it's when you can't lift the weight up despite pushing as hard as physically possible. So in other words, it is completely dependent on your effort and how hard you are willing to push. Hence why you don't really need that many sets in the gym as long as those sets are intense. And if you are training this hard and your diet and recovery are both locked in, you will build muscle. That is just how the human body works. And if you don't, ask yourself this one final question. Do I have patience. Unfortunately, building muscle is a painfully slow process, and even if everything you're doing is perfect, your nutrition is great, your recovery is great, and you're actually training hard, you may just still not be able to see improvements after every single session. You know, maybe you just progress really slowly on bicep curls and it takes you 2 months to increase 5 pounds. That's still 30 pounds increased in 1 year. That's like going from curling the 25s to the 55s. So even though it seems slow, it still adds up over time. That is why you track your workouts so that you can actually assess this and make adjustments to your weight and reps accordingly. And if you do that and you stay consistent, you will build muscle. If not, go rewatch this video because you clearly missed it the first time. And for those of you who made it to the end, enjoy 50% off everything on My Protein with code MAXE plus 10 free servings of chocolate brownie protein powder with the first link in the description. This deal only lasts 24 hours, so act fast, get yourself a compression shirt, maybe some nice sweatpants, shorts, or just any supplements for 50% off and enjoy some chocolate brownie protein powder.